On to the next topic. Let's speak about the CAF Awards. The CAF Awards happened last night. We had a bunch of people winning. Men's Player of the Year was Ulukman, Ademola Lukman. Women's Player of the Year was Barbara Banda from Zambia. We had Club of the Year being Ahly, National Team of the Year being Ivory Coast AFCON winners. I'd like to send a proper shout out to Ronwen Williams for winning Goalkeeper of the Year at the CAF Awards, but then also winning Interclub Player of the Year, Interclub Player of the Year at the CAF Awards. Interclub means players who are stationed within Africa, essentially. So if you're Percy Tau won the last one, if you're in Africa and you're playing club football in Africa, that is the award you can win. But there's a couple of things that worry me about the CAF Awards and CAF in general. Here's one. I just noted that Ronwen Williams was Interclub Player of the Year and Goalkeeper of the Year. Yet, Andre Onana made it into the African best 11. For what? I don't know. When you look across all of those picks, they have a distinctly European feel to them, where we're not shining the light on some of the teams that are doing incredible. Ahly won their 12th Champions League. Not one player could get in. Versus players who find they're good, they play in Europe, aren't doing incredibly well, or their teams aren't doing incredibly well that side. Surely you should see more of Ahly players, Sundowns players, those type of players being shone a light on. So that's the first part. There's a very European feel to this thing. There's a very, there's a condescension. And maybe you're not doing it. You're not doing that, bringing in the interclub players into these best 11s. You're not doing it just for the fact that they had very good seasons. Maybe part of the reason you bring them in is that you're saying, here are our best players. Let's market these people. Here are our best coaches. Let's market these people. Let's make African football look a certain way, because these are opportunities for public relations where you can change how African football is viewed. But if it serves as a place where you're going to still you're going to still try and appeal to Europe, you're going to still try and give them praise, you're going to still try and play yourself small, then how can African football grow? I've said before that the Ballon d'Ors, the Champions Leagues, that side, all of that stuff, purely exist at a certain level to heighten what we think of what Europe does. Guys, I don't watch Slavia Prague. I don't watch Benfica. I don't watch Sporting. I don't watch Brighton. You know, we don't watch the 3rd, 4th, 5th best teams in Germany. We don't watch the 6th, 7th, 8th best teams in Spain. But every time they've got a chance to wrap it together, they do it in such a way that they shine such a great light on European football. So why can't we as Africa shine that light on African football as a whole and make sure that our best performers, the clubs, the coaches, you know, put Abo Rulani on the stage, put Abo Coach Pitso on the stage, take Abo Marcel Collar, take the different people that are big, take the different owners, bring the different clubs, do all of that. And I think part of the problem with CAF is also something that's highlighted by these awards. You know, in Africa, we have a thing we call Sub-Saharan Africa, which is basically, when you look at a map where they show you it, Sub-Saharan Africa is about 90% of the African continent, is separated from the north. And these awards happen in Morocco all the time. We know that the headquarters are in Morocco, like Patrice Motsepe's actual office. Yes, there's a satellite office all over, but his actual office sits in Egypt, I believe it is. You know, when you watch these things, you look at the accessibility, where the presentation was off. All of us who are trying to watch those awards from, I'm in South Africa, all of us who are trying to watch those awards from Sub-Saharan Africa, the sound was off, the translating was not making sense at times, the presentation. Because I think it's not catered to all of us. And if CAF wants to be a superpower organization in world football, I think you need to find ways to bring us all into this. When you have your awards, when you have your opening ceremonies, when you have all this stuff, I can't be going onto TikTok. This happened with AFCON. I can't be going onto TikTok and watching your ceremony live and it's in French. I can't be watching your awards and there's no representatives from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from Namibia, from all of these other countries. It's a very West and North African facing thing. And maybe now we need to start asking questions about, man, can we make this a whole encompassing thing? And I know that Motsepe has tried to do it with the AFCON, making sure that free-to-air broadcasters like SABC have the rights so that more people can log in, can turn on their TVs, can watch. Sorry to interrupt the video that I'm sure you're enjoying, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that you guys have shown me and my Overthinking Football platform. I'm a one-man band that's doing all of this, and I really do enjoy the comments about how, you know, Supersport needs to come fetch me and SABC and all of that stuff. And I think it speaks to the quality of the content, but also the amount of effort that I put in. So I just wanted to say thank you. But the truth is that Abo Supersport and all of those guys, yes, we're competing with them, but it's a completely different place. The sponsors are looking for former players, and to be honest with you, running some of these things is getting so difficult and things have changed at home. So financially, it's a whole different world. So I wanted to try something new and come to the overthinkers, the people who watch the content, and say it would be incredible if you guys could contribute monthly towards the platform, towards keeping my lights on, but also making sure that all of the crazy things that I want to do, that I want to take Supersport on with, I can actually do. And just for 20 Rand every month, I think that would be an incredible contribution if you can make it. It may sound like a little, but if we can get a lot of people behind it, then we'll be able to carry on doing what I do. I'll be able to carry on giving you the content and also expanding it, because we don't have shows like this, and us content creators need help from our audiences. So I just came here to ask you if you can. Here is the account number that you guys can use in order to contribute. And I think, yeah, I'd be very grateful if you would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know, it's so hard to watch a CAF Champions League game. If Sundowns is not playing, or Ahly is not playing, or one of the big guys, can I turn on the TV and access that? When we are talking about the build-up towards Abo CAF awards and all of those things, how much has been orientated towards other audiences to say, okay, in South Africa, between PSL matches, we're going to show you, man. We're going to show you an advert nyana about what happened at AFCON. We're going to show you an advert nyana about what happened at WAFCON, and advert nyana about what's going on in the CAF Champions League. What happened last year? Okay, how many times as South Africans, let's be honest, have we seen Ahly lifting a trophy? For us to care and know. In fact, the Super Cup that's played between the winners of the Confederations Cup and the winners of the Champions League was played in Saudi Arabia. Not Ivory Coast, not Ghana, not Nigeria, not South Africa. They took it that side. Already, those teams take part in what's called, I believe it's the Emirates Cup or the King's Cup, where they have countries from like Egypt, Morocco, playing with countries from the Middle East, your Qatars, clubs from your Middle East, your Qatari clubs, your Saudi Arabian clubs, your Middle Eastern clubs. They have their own tournaments and all of that stuff. So who does it serve? And I think what is holding Africa back very, very badly is this thing where we want to impress everybody but your audience. You have PSL teams talking about corporate sponsors, talking about all of those things, going to all types of stadiums. Stadiums are built in the middle of nowhere. Now you're not even servicing the people that are meant to be following your team properly. No fan clubs, no activations, no outreach, none of those type of things to try and get your audience. That's now at a club level. Now, when you look at the African level, man, why are you looking at Visit Saudi Arabia and trying to look good for Gianni Infantino? Who you should, FIFA president, but secondary to the people who actually watch and follow the football. You know, if we weren't avid football watchers, we maybe even don't even know about those CAF awards. So is CAF accessible? And maybe I can even speak from a point of privilege to say that South Africa has the structures, the admin, the stadiums, the this, the that, the that, the this, the that, to show you that it's not even about making or speaking about the resources. There are other countries that have the resources that don't get these things, but you're part of sub-Saharan Africa. Guys, the Champions League was switched this year in Europe to accommodate the big clubs. Okay, to say, no, big clubs, because you're complaining about money, let's make this an actual league so that you guys can play. But you know what secondary thing that helps with? It helps with the smaller clubs. So now you have more chance of your Jwaneng Galaxy playing Al Ahly. What does that mean for that game when Al Ahly goes to play in Botswana? What does that mean for the accessibility of the football as a whole when they do Europa League and they do conference leagues and they cover them properly and they market them properly and they make them available properly? That's how you create a juggernaut. But if we're still going to have a separation between Europe and a separation between Europe and Africa, and then intra-Africa you have a separation between sub-Saharan Africa and the North is actually linked to the Middle East and also maybe to how? Look at what FIFA did with the World Cup, is my last point here. Look at what FIFA did with the World Cup. They literally gave it to, they're doing a whole 3 countries are going to host it in South America. So there's going to be 6 teams that are going to play in South America at some point. Then Morocco, Spain, and I'm forgetting the other country, they're going to host it together. But then they tick it off by saying, the World Cup is coming back to Africa. But it's really going to Morocco for a couple of games. And it's shared with Europe again before going to the Middle East again. Look at that. Can we have a commitment by CAF to really try and make African football for all of us? Because there's a lot that we stand to benefit from it, and there's a lot of financial gain that is yet to be unlocked by CAF by them being so separated. But in any case, let's move on to the last topic. Okay, the last topic that I want to speak about, right?